Hey everybody, it's Naya. Welcome back to Naya Reasons Smiles. Hi guys! Okay, so today I'm going to be doing a different video. It is currently 6 p.m. at night and I was going to wait until the morning to film this, but I have had this rush of courage. I have been wanting to film this video for a very long time. I've just been, to be completely honest, terrified. As I'm sure you've read from the title, today I'm going to be speaking about my personal experience being a Black booktuber, being a booktuber of color in this community. Despite how much I read, I don't know why, but I always get really nervous when talking about my own personal experiences, and I always kind of get stuck and feel like I can't articulate what I want to say, or that I'll say something but it'll come out wrong, or people will misinterpret me, and so I end up just getting nervous and then not saying anything. But recently there has been an article that has come out and I have been talking to other booktubers and they have given me the courage. Thank you, Christina Marie, if you're watching this. She in particular really was the person that pushed me and is the reason why I'm sitting here filming this video and not freaking out and like stuttering. Recently, Jolie Duggett over at HuffPost released an article called "Where Are All the Black Booktubers?" I was so lucky to have been interviewed for this article. I was actually interviewed way back in 2017 and I was so scared that somehow HuffPost kind of smothered the article or kind of brushed it under the rug because I never saw it published. So I was super surprised when I woke up and I checked Twitter and the article was up and everyone was talking about it. Jolie also interviewed 3 other Black booktubers: India from Books and Big Hair. Hi India, I love her channel. She was one of the first people I subscribed to. Christina Marie, as well as Kashaw Archer from The Book Archer. I will include a link to the article as well as all the booktubers I mentioned, as well as Jolie's information down below, so you guys can check them all out, check the article out. Please, if you haven't already, check out the article, read it, and then come back and finish watching this video because I'll be discussing a lot of the topics that were brought up in the article. Okay, so the goal of this video, before I get into everything, is not to start an argument, but rather to continue a discussion that has been going on for a long time. Why does there seem to be no Black booktubers? Which there are hundreds of us, but the main problem is, and the main thing that I think all of us booktubers that were interviewed in the article brought up, Black booktubers aren't getting exposure. A lot of people don't know that I've been on Booktube for quite a while. I started my channel in 2014, and when I tell them that, they're like, what do you mean? I just found your channel like a year ago. Yeah, I've been here. Yeah, my channel has been around. I've been on Booktube for 5 years, and it has taken me the full 5 years to get where I am, and I am so grateful, so blessed to have been connected with all of you guys. The biggest things that everybody in the article pointed out was that Black booktubers aren't getting opportunities, and I've been asked previously why I personally feel like my channel has been successful, and I've never really been able to give an answer because I feel like when it comes to the success of a YouTube channel, that is a tree with a lot of roots. I think a lot of factors play into why certain channels are more popular than others, but I absolutely believe that race is one of the big factors. I think you can just, again, look at the community and see that there is a huge gap between successful Black booktubers and successful white booktubers. In order to try and answer that question, again, with the title of this video, I looked at my own experiences and what has helped my channel grow, and reading the article and reflecting back and really analyzing my YouTube career. I don't want to say career because this is a hobby for me, and it's been a life-changing hobby for me. The biggest thing that is, I guess, led to the success I've experienced thus far with my channel is opportunity. The opportunities that I've been given, the people I've been allowed to work with, the events I have been invited to speak at, all of these things, biggest reasons why my channel has been successful. And if you look at other Black booktubers, the main thing that they aren't being given is opportunity. If you look at things like Booktube panels, sponsorship videos, getting to work with publishing companies, getting to fly and do events, all of these things for me personally have like led to exponential growth with my channel. And if you look at who gets chosen for these opportunities the most, it's white booktubers. It is the ratio of booktubers of color that are getting picked for panels and getting, you know, picked for sponsorships opportunities and getting sent arcs, and there's no opportunities being given to Black booktubers and to booktubers of color. I know one of the arguments on the other side is that, you know, Black booktubers and booktubers of color just don't have the same numbers, and that's the reason why they aren't getting opportunities. That's an excuse. Like, that is an excuse. I personally was given opportunities when my numbers were just not even a fraction of some other booktubers that I was with for these opportunities. From a business perspective, you know, smaller businesses that are reaching out, smaller publishing companies that are reaching out to booktubers, I understand how numbers can be more important. But as far as bigger opportunities with people that do not need numbers, okay, we're just gonna call it out. We're gonna talk about the Michelle Obama interviews. For anyone who's read the article and who just follows Booktube, you know that YouTube recently did is it a feature series or like an interview series where they basically brought on 3 booktubers to interview Michelle Obama. I'm gonna start by saying that I am so happy for the booktubers that got to meet her and to interview her. I think that was a huge win just for the booktube community as a whole. I think whenever anybody, any company, whenever YouTube recognizes booktube, it's a huge thing because we're a really small community and it doesn't happen very often, and this was one of those opportunities where it really put a spotlight on Booktube as a whole. Those interviews came out, a lot of people were tagging me and DMing me and messaging me, asking if I was upset that I wasn't invited or what my thoughts were that they chose 3 white booktubers. I'm so grateful for the opportunities I've been given, and when I see other people getting opportunities, I never think, oh, I wish that was me. I'm always just very happy for those people, and I was afraid if I spoke out about it that I would come off as jealous or hateful, which is not my intention at all. I couldn't help but feel a little heartbroken when I saw those interviews because I felt like it was a huge missed opportunity for the Black booktube community. Michelle Obama is a very notable figure. She's a boss, okay? Let's just leave it at that. She is a boss. She has done, Michelle Obama, even before she became the first lady, she dedicated her whole life to helping people, to helping her community, to helping the Black community. Her book Becoming, which is what they were promoting in those interviews, was an incredible book. I listened to the audiobook. I cried multiple times because I was just able to relate so deeply to her experiences. I feel like a lot of other Black women, a lot of other Black booktubers were able to connect with it in a way that you really only can connect with it if you're a Black woman. The argument was that, you know, they just chose people who had really high numbers. But the thing that I couldn't accept with that was Michelle Obama doesn't need the numbers. It was Michelle Obama being interviewed. It was this incredibly strong Black woman. I don't know why whoever was in charge of, you know, choosing the people for that opportunity, why they didn't invite another 3 booktubers who were Black, who were women. Something that India said from Books and Big Hair in a Twitter thread was that it's not about subtracting and replacing white booktubers. That's not at all what this discussion is about. It's making sure that if you're someone in charge of putting on a panel or inviting people to do an interview or, you know, giving any sort of exposure to anybody in the booktube community, anyone in the YouTube community, it's about making sure if there are 3 white booktubers there, that there are also 3 booktubers of color. You know, it's about balance. It's about making sure to include everyone and to make an effort to include everyone. You know, if I was the person in charge of choosing the people to do the interview, my first instinct would have been, you know, this is a Black woman. Let's bring Black women onto this show because 1, they're probably going to be the people that are going to relate the most, the people that have been able to take the most from her book Becoming. 2, because Michelle Obama's whole philosophy and whole life has been dedicated to giving opportunities to people in the Black community. So it would only make sense to perpetuate that. I kind of want to now pivot to the title of this video, which is my own personal experience being Black on Booktube. I have been lucky enough to get incredible opportunities that to this day I'm still convincing myself that I deserve, which is something I think a lot of people of color just experience, is having to convince themselves that they deserve the opportunities that they're given. I want to talk about my experience on Booktube just to further solidify the point of opportunity being the biggest factor that can help elevate booktubers of color. I get nervous when I talk about myself, but okay, I took notes because I wanted to make sure that I had my timeline correct and that I touched on everything I wanted to touch on. I started my channel in 2014. November of 2014 is when I posted my first video. It is still up on my channel. You can watch it, but maybe don't watch it. I was 15. I'm currently 20 now, so just be aware of the age difference if you do go back and watch the video. When I started my Booktube channel, I was 15 years old and I owned, I think, 8 or 9 books. I'm gonna put pictures up for reference so you guys can see. Because I didn't own a lot of books, I felt a bit embarrassed, which is a feeling that I know a lot of new booktubers experience because, you know, they see, well, they see this in the background of my videos now and they think that this is what you need to be successful, when it's not. Instead, I would film in front of this white wall. My very first video, my first few videos were filmed in front of a white wall. The majority of the books I read, I borrowed from the library, and I was also an avid reader of Wattpad stories, kind of known as a fan fiction site, which I think I did read a bit of fan fiction, but I read a lot of the self-published stories by other teenagers. You could publish chapter by chapter on Wattpad, and it was a way to read for free because I couldn't afford books. I was living with my dad, who was a single parent working 3 jobs and taking care of 3 kids, and we couldn't afford books. I love my dad. He has always supported my love for reading, but at the time, you know, he couldn't just give me $10 or $20 to go and buy a book, so I borrowed a lot of books from the library. After I turned 16, which was just a few months after I started my channel, I got 2 jobs. I worked at an art gallery and at a retail store. I blew up balloons. I worked at a party store. I got 2 jobs, and majority of my money went to help support my family, but the extra money I was able to make every month, I was able to buy books now. I didn't know about any of like the discount bookstores online, so I was paying full price for every book. So that's where my collection kind of started. I did my schooling online, which is how I was able to have 2 jobs. I would work during the day and then come home at night and then do my schoolwork until like 3 in the morning. At the time, my whole life was just work. I didn't have any friends. Because I was working all the time, I would just read books on my free time, on my lunch break, and that was where I escaped into to find comfort, you know? So when I discovered Booktube, it was and still is the biggest blessing in my life, because suddenly I had this community. You know, I was really new, but the community was so welcoming, and I had this place where I could express my creativity and interact with other people who actually had the same interest as me, which it was the first time in my life where I was able to talk to like 10 people who all loved books and who had all read Throne of Glass or whatever book I was reading at the time. And Booktube gave me something that I never knew I desperately needed, and that is this overwhelming sense of belonging somewhere and having like having my people. You know, I had like a group, you know, I had friends, which I know, you know, it was like online, but still it was oh god, it was amazing. It was such a blessing, and it still is such a blessing. Those first 2 years on Booktube, my channel was pretty small. I had a small channel, but I didn't care. I still don't care. I just was happy I had like 4 people to talk to, 10 people to talk to about books, and you know, I was doing a lot of tag videos, and it was just really fun, you know? The first companies to ever reach out to me and to give me an opportunity that exposed my channel to thousands of people, that literally within 6 months had my channel going from, I think it was like 5,000 subscribers to maybe 10,000. That company was Book Outlet. I still work with them today. They were the first company that took a chance on me. They reached out to me and they were like, hey, you know, we saw your video, we thought it's really cool. We're starting this new thing called a vlogger page, where they're having a vlogger page on their website featuring a bunch of different booktubers. Book Outlet gave me a gift card to buy books from their website. People that frequent the website can then go to the vlogger pages and see what different book reviewers are reading. So as you can imagine, I was freaking out. I, at the time, was I'm pretty sure the smallest booktuber that they reached out to. Like I said, I had maybe like 5,000 subscribers, and they were reaching out to booktubers that had over 100,000. So at the time I was like, why is Book Outlet emailing me? Like, I'm not a big creator. I you know, I don't have the numbers, but the marketing team that worked at Book Outlet made an effort to make sure that the vloggers on their vlogger page were diverse, and that page had color on it. Within like 3 or 4 months, I was getting hundreds of people coming from the Book Outlet website saying, hey, I saw your vlogger page and I watched your video. I'm so happy I found you. Just felt lucky to have more people to connect with and to get to work with a company that was supporting me, like genuinely was supporting me. And the gift cards that they were giving me helped me buy books, because like I said, at the time I really couldn't afford books. And so the fact that they were giving me a book card, or not a book card, a gift card on top of that to support my channel, it was huge. It allowed me to get more books that I could read and then review, and it just continued to help the growth of my channel. Was it 2015 or 2016? I think it was 2016. I was invited to speak on a Booktube panel at the North Texas Teen Book Festival. Paid for my travel down there. I was here in Denver at the time, and it was the first time I ever got invited to go to a book event. Not only go to the event, but to speak to an audience of people. Again, my channel, my numbers were so small in comparison to the other booktubers on the panel. I know Jessie was there one year, either the first year or the second year. And yeah, and I just remember thinking, why am I here? Like, my numbers don't even match up. But again, it was the people in charge of the event that made an effort to make sure that there was color on their panel. Again, my channel grew tremendously. I was able to meet hundreds of readers, and I made little business cards and was handing them out to people. I was able to network and connect with people in the publishing industry, people who worked with Scholastic and just Harper Teen, and just everyone. I was able to just network. The biggest thing that came out of this opportunity that then led to me getting another huge opportunity was I actually met Margot from Epic Reads, or she's not with Epic Reads anymore, but she used to be with Epic Reads. I have been following Epic Reads since like 2013 when they were doing their tea time videos on their YouTube channel. Epic Reads is an imprint as well as a blog site that's connected with Harper Teen, or HarperCollins Publishing. But anyways, I met Margot from Epic Reads, and you know, I told her about my channel, and a month after that event, she emailed me asking if I wanted to do a series for the Epic Reads YouTube channel, which was like, it was huge. Again, I was a really small channel. Margot didn't care. She's like, you know, I love your videos, and I would love if you would do a series with us for the Epic Reads channel, which had over 100,000 subscribers. So when I did end up doing those videos for the Epic Reads channel, I was freaking out, because like I said, again, I was a huge fan of the tea time videos. So the fact that I was like even working with Margot Wood from Epic Reads was insane, and I was so grateful, and I was trying not to fangirl when I was talking to her. Thousands of people found my channel from those videos. Publishing companies started reaching out to me. Exposure continued to build. Then a year later, the biggest opportunity that I've gotten to this day slid into my inbox, and that is the Hate U Give on set. You already know. I was invited to come onto the set of the Hate U Give, the movie adaptation of Angie Thomas's book. It is to this day the biggest opportunity I have been given and the most life-changing experience I have ever had. I got to meet so many of my idols. I got to meet Amanda Stenberg, who I was a fan of her since she was Rue in the Hunger Games. We actually had a conversation. It was crazy. I was actually in my dorm room when I got that email. I had to forward that email to my dad and had him read over it and call me back and verify that it was an actual opportunity before I let myself scream and freak out over it. Even 2 weeks later, when I was on the plane, like, I still didn't believe it. When I was in the hotel room waiting to go downstairs and meet the other booktubers who, again, were huge booktubers, like booktubers where my numbers wasn't even a fraction of their numbers. I called my dad in the hotel room because I was freaking out and I'm like, Dad, I think they made a mistake. I was so sure I was gonna go downstairs, and the lady that was coordinating it all, I was sure she was gonna come up to me and be like, oh wow, we brought the wrong person. I got to see the production of a movie, and I'm also a film and production major in college, so that was another reason why it was such a big opportunity for me, because I got to actually go on like an A-list movie set and see how the process is done. I got to interview real actors and talk about a book that I was passionate about. And looking back, I definitely agree with a lot of people who have said they should have invited more Black booktubers. Absolutely. And then lastly, earlier this year in March, the same amazing people invited me back to the North Texas Teen Book Festival to speak on a panel. Not only that, but the festival had grown so much that they actually decided to do a film festival as well, where they premiered movies that were adapted from books, and they did interviews, and it was huge. Because of the Hate U Give opportunity, the people that are running and planning the event, they saw the video I did and saw that I was a huge fan of the book and that I got to actually meet some of the cast. But sadly, I hadn't got to meet Angie that day, and so they told me that one of the movies they were going to be premiering was The Hate U Give, and that Angie was going to be there, and they asked if I would like to do an interview with her afterwards, a talk back. I'm going to put a picture here because this is my favorite picture of all times, because Angie Thomas is one of my biggest heroes. Like midnight when I was doing this interview, and I feel so bad because I know she was probably exhausted from doing a full day of conventions and then having to watch her movie again and then having to sit through like a 30-minute interview with me, but still she was so kind and she answered all my questions. That was another big opportunity where I got to meet so many authors and so many other booktubers. People see some of the work I've done with other authors, and so they reach out to me because they're like, hey, we see that you know how to interview authors. Would you like to come and interview this author? Would you like to come and do this? It's impossible to grow. It's impossible to climb the ladder if you're not even given steps within that ladder. If you're not given the opportunity to go into rooms, to go into spaces where people can see you, where you can get exposure. I know that was a really long-winded explanation and backstory, but I felt like it was necessary to further solidify the point of opportunity being the biggest thing that has an effect on whether or not booktubers, specifically booktubers of color, Black booktubers, whether their channels grow. So my hope is with this video, I know I have a lot of people that work in publishing that follow me, that work specifically in book marketing that follow me. My hope is that they see this video and that they know how much of an impact that giving opportunities to Black creators can have on this community. Black people read. We read. We are here. There are Black authors. There are Black booktubers. There are Black creators. We consume books. Sadly, there are still people that are working in marketing, that are putting together events, that are in charge of distributing opportunities. Even though it's 2019, they believe that a white face will sell more than a Black face, even though there are just as many, if not more, Black female readers out there. I personally know that I can do so much better at giving exposure to other Black booktubers and Black creators in the future. I will, not even in the future, right now, I will be doing shout outs for booktubers of color, Black booktubers. I am going to pin a comment down below, and any Black booktubers, any aspiring book bloggers, bookstagrammers of color, if you have a channel, if you're gonna start a channel, start it and then link it down below. Link your favorite video, your favorite photo, your favorite review, link it down below so that I can find you and I can follow you and I can shout you out on my platform and hopefully just give you as much exposure as I can give you. And also to everyone working in publishing that will hopefully see this video, they will have a giant list down in the description that they can scroll through to find Black creators to make sure to include them in opportunities in the future. There's no excuses. There have been multiple threads on Twitter, now on here. I'm not sure if Angie Thomas read the HuffPost article, but the other day, right after it came out, she followed me and she also started her own thread, which is huge because there are so many big names that work in publishing that follow her that will see this thread. But she started a thread for people of color and for Black content creators to link all of their information and their channels so that she can find them and help support them as well. So I will include Angie's thread in the description box if you want to add your information to that as well. As always, thank you guys so much for your love and your continued support. I will never be able to repay you for all the love and kindness that you have sent my way these past 5 years. Until next time, keep reading and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!